Some deaths close a chapter, others ignite a storm of doubt. In this episode, we step inside the jail cell, where a man at the center of power, scandal, and global controversy met an ending that raised more questions than answers. The Jeffrey Epstein case opens. This is Memento Mori. We are doing a deep dive today into the incredibly complicated circumstances around the death of Jeffrey Epstein on August 10th, 2019.
Right. And it's a case where the official ruling just never sat right with a huge portion of the public?
Not at all. I mean, his name is obviously now synonymous with this horrific international sex trafficking network involving underage girls.
And his death, which was officially ruled a suicide, came with so many contradictions that it became this massive test of public trust in the entire justice system.
So our mission here is to really map out those contradictions. We're going to look at three key things: the political threat he posed, the complete breakdown of security that night, and then the big one, the medical dispute over the evidence itself.
And this all happened at the Metropolitan Correctional Center, the MCC. This isn't some low-security facility. It's designed for the high-profile, high-risk inmates.
Which leads to the central question hanging over everything. Yeah. How could a man whose trial threatened to expose some of the most powerful people in the world just die under this perfect storm of errors?
Exactly. It's a perfect storm that many believe was no accident.
It's an incredible story. Let's start with just how high the stakes really were. So Epstein had faced charges before, back in the mid-2000s. But that ended in that infamous, really controversial plea deal in Florida.
The one engineered by Alexander Acosta, who later became a cabinet secretary. A total slap on the wrist.
But the 2019 federal arrest in New York was completely different. The charges were serious: using minors for sex, running a prostitution ring, conspiracy.
And the federal prosecutors handling it this time were not playing around. The easy way out was gone. He was looking at a very, very long time in prison.
But the real danger he posed wasn't just to himself, was it? It was about his role as, the ultimate secret keeper.
That's the perfect way to put it. His access to the global elite for decades was just, unparalleled.
And we're not talking about casual friends here.
No, not at all. We're talking about heads of state, members of the British royal family, U.S. presidents, billionaires, top academics.
All connected to him.
And his properties, his townhouses, his planes, and of course that infamous island, Little St. James, were all, according to court documents, venues for these crimes.
So his trial wasn't just about him anymore.
Exactly. It was poised to set off this cascade of investigations into all these other powerful figures. Were they involved? Were they complicit? Did they benefit?
Which is where the public narrative comes from, right? The idea that he knew too much.
Absolutely. That he had to be silenced before any of those secrets could come out in court and become public record. It provides a very clear, very powerful motive.
And that potential for exposure, I mean, it turned a criminal case into a global security issue, really.
It did it. Epstein was basically a walking black box of compromising information on the world's most powerful people.
Okay, so the idea that this was just a series of unfortunate mistakes, it requires you to believe in a level of incompetence that is just staggering. And the minds were there weeks before he died.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about the warning shot. July 23, 2019.
What happened then?
He was found unconscious in his cell. He had bruises on his neck. It was a clear, unambiguous signal that something was wrong.
So was it a suicide attempt or was he attacked?
That's the thing. It was ambiguous. But it almost didn't matter. What mattered was that he was now, without a doubt, a high-risk prisoner who needed constant monitoring. Suicide watch.
And this is where the system just completely fails.
Completely. He was put on suicide watch, but then it was lifted almost immediately.
And we know this was against medical advice, right?
Yes, specifically against the advice of the MCC psychiatrists. They basically said he was still a risk, and the administration just ignored them, returned him to the general population.
That is just unbelievable. That feels like the first domino.
It was the first critical failure. But what unfolded on the night of August 10th wasn't just one failure. It was, like you said, a perfect storm, a convergence of multiple severe violations.
Let's just list them out because they are truly shocking. First, he was alone.
Correct. High-risk inmates are not supposed to be housed alone. It's rule number 1. His cellmate had been transferred out, and they just never gave him a new one. A direct violation of protocol.
Okay, so he's isolated. Then you have the guards.
The 2 guards assigned to his unit. Their job was to check on him every 30 minutes.
And they just didn't.
They admitted it. They fell asleep. For hours! On the night the most high-profile inmate in the country dies, the guards are asleep.
It's more than that, though. They didn't just fall asleep, they actively covered it up.
Right. They falsified the logs. They wrote down that they had done their 30-minute checks when they hadn't. That's not incompetence, that's a crime.
A felony. And then, to top it all off, the cameras.
The final piece of the puzzle that fuels all the suspicion. The security cameras that should have recorded the area around his cell were supposedly malfunctioning that night.
So to recap, the highest risk inmate in the facility is left alone. Against protocol, his guards are asleep, they lie about it on official records, and the cameras are broken.
You couldn't write it.
It's impossible. So when was he found?
Around 6:30 in the morning, during breakfast distribution, he was found kneeling on the floor with a strip of bedsheet tied around his neck and connected to his lower bunk bed, a scene that instantly became a huge point of contention.
The scene itself just sounds questionable. But legally, the official story all came down to the autopsy, right?
It did. The New York City Chief Medical Examiner, Barbara Sampson, conducted the autopsy, and on August 16th, she ruled it a suicide by hanging. Case closed, as far as the government was concerned.
But it wasn't closed.
Not by a long shot, because Epstein's lawyers hired their own expert, Dr. Michael Baden. And he's not just anyone, he's a world-renowned forensic pathologist.
And what did he find?
He found something that directly contradicted the official ruling. It all came down to a few small bones in Epstein's neck.
Okay, can you break that down for us? What bones are we talking about?
So specifically, the hyoid bone, which is a small horseshoe-shaped bone high up in the neck, and the thyroid cartilage, which you might know as the Adam's apple.
Right.
Dr. Baden found 3 distinct fractures in those bones, 1 in the hyoid and 2 in the thyroid cartilage.
And he said that was unusual.
He said it was very unusual for a suicide by hanging.
Why? I mean, wouldn't any kind of hanging potentially cause fractures?
It can, but the pattern is key. In a typical hanging, especially from a low point like a bunk bed, the force is a sustained downward pull from the body's weight. Hyoid fractures in those cases are pretty rare.
I see.
But Dr. Baden argued that having 3 separate fractures like that is, well, something he said is more commonly seen in deaths caused by manual or rope strangulation.
Strangulation, so a completely different kind of force.
Exactly. It suggests a more horizontal, compressive force, someone tightening something around the neck, not the vertical pull of a low-level hanging.
And he also questioned the physics of it all, didn't he? A man of Epstein's size and weight managing to do that from a low bunk bed.
Right. The physical implausibility of the scene, combined with these specific forensic findings, just became this powerful piece of ammunition for everyone who doubted the official story.
So you have these incredible, undisputed institutional failures on one hand, and then a major medical dispute from a top expert on the other.
It was inevitable. It created this instant, global wave of skepticism.
And the conspiracy theories just took off immediately. There was a poll that showed almost half of Americans believed he was murdered.
And the core theory is pretty straightforward. It points directly back to those powerful connections we talked about.
The idea being that political and financial elites, whose lives could be ruined by what he knew, had him killed to silence him for good.
Precisely. The Black Book of Contacts, the secrets of the island, they had to stay buried.
And under that theory, the sleeping guards and broken cameras aren't incompetence.
No, they're seen as proof of a deliberate setup, a cover-up facilitated from the inside to create a window for an assassination to happen undetected in a federal prison.
It's a huge claim that the institution itself was compromised to protect the powerful.
It is. But given the circumstances, you can see why so many people believe it.
So with all this public outcry and the dispute from Dr. Baden, what was the official response? How did they finally close the case?
Well, multiple agencies investigated. The FBI, the Department of Justice Inspector General, the OIG.
And the 2 guards.
They pleaded guilty to falsifying the records, so they confirmed the negligence and the cover-up. But, and this is crucial, that didn't resolve the actual cause of death.
So how did the OIG report, which came out in 2023, still end up concluding it was a suicide after reviewing everything?
That is the central tension of the entire case. The OIG report was scathing about the institutional failures. They called it a gross breakdown of protocol, but they said they found no concrete evidence of a murder plot.
So no smoking gun.
No provable chain of evidence that connected anyone, inside or out, to a homicide. So in the end, they just deferred to the original medical examiner's ruling of suicide.
So legally, the book is closed, suicide confirmed. But in the court of public opinion,
It's anything but. The case remains the symbol of a justice system that failed. The combination of the unbelievable negligence and the conflicting medical evidence means it will probably always be seen as an unresolved mystery.
A mystery that has seriously eroded public trust. It leaves you wondering if accountability is even possible when people that powerful are involved.
Exactly. The secrets, whether by incompetence or by design, remain buried. And the process failed so completely that we're left with this permanent, frustrating question mark. What's really fascinating here is that the severity of the negligence, the sleeping guards, the false records, the defunct cameras, whether it was all intentional or not, the end result is the same. It allowed powerful secrets to stay buried, and it continues to raise this really important question about whether accountability can ever truly reach the very top levels of society.
Thank you for listening. To ensure you don't miss the next file in the Memento Mori collection, please like this video and subscribe. Until we meet again in the next dark story.